Hi. Um, so normally I do a video of like a video game or something I've done or something like that, something interesting. This might be a little interesting. Today I'm going to talk kind of about my own story. And I know that this is probably going to be a Christian story. Hopefully you found it under something Christian. And please, no dislikes, okay? If you're not a Christian, don't dislike the video. I kind of find that to be a little rude. If I don't like something, I'm not just going to dislike it on YouTube. But that's my own opinion. Anyway, this is something I kind of want to show some kind of positivity to people that there really is a God, because, well, everybody in the world is living proof, but I'm just one of them. Today is the 5 years since I have been completely free of not being able to breathe. And here's my story, because I still have it, but I have reactive lung disease, which can be caused by many things. Most of the time they say that if you have that disease, you have asthma when you're a child. I did not have asthma, but I didn't know it for years. But apparently what is caused, I have a toxin, which means my body can't handle it. And what it can't handle is food dyes. Now, I might make a video on, like, say if you have the same problem as me and you're trying to look up this disease, because I did, about why a lot of kids in the world, or people in the world, can't have food dyes. And you notice recently in commercials that that they keep saying that it has no additional artificial colors or flavors, because it's becoming more and more common about this disease. But no, I can't have food dyes, and I might do a video on a specific diet that I have to do to be well. But the thing is, what reactive lung disease is, I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place. What reactive lung disease is it is a disease where you have problems breathing. It's kind of like asthma, somewhat. It's kind of that way, but I think it's a little bit different. But every single time that I have food dyes in a lot of it, it actually goes down in my system, and my system can't handle it, and I literally can't breathe. It's like my throat clogs up, and my chest feels like an elephant is on top of it. If you ever see those COPD commercials with the elephant on top of the woman, that is literally how it feels. So when you feel like you have an elephant on top of you, you can't even really move. That's the sad part. It's like you have to sit completely still if you're having a breathing problem. Because somewhat right now, I sound like I'm having a problem. Well, I'm not. But I'm just saying if you noticed or anything. But anyway, here is my complete story, because I'm babbling. Okay. When I was 7 years old, I started having a lot of problems, and it's like I started having problems with my breathing. I was not really the normal child. Even when I wasn't overweight, because when I got older, I got more overweight. But when I was 7, I was fit as a fiddle. I was fine, but all of a sudden, I just started having breathing problems. I couldn't run around like the normal child. When I eat, it'd be I sometimes would feel a little bit better or something like that. But if I eat something funny, sometimes I wouldn't be able to breathe, and I never knew what it was for many years. But when I started getting into 8 and 9 and 10, I went through puberty, of course, that went through it, but I started putting on a lot of weight. And the sad part was I never knew how the weight was caused. I mean, I'm pretty sure it had to do with some of my family, that went down from generations, but also it did have to do with the food dyes and stuff. I got very much picked on a lot about my weight constantly, and it always bogged me down. I was literally a depressed kid when I was a preteen. My grades were going down. I was having family problems, and like everything just seemed so awful. I hated myself. And when I was 12 years old, mainly when I was around 10 and 11, I started having more and more problems breathing. And I didn't know what it was, neither did my mother or my sister. I was just living my life. I didn't know what to do about it. But when I was 12 years old, suddenly all that stuff got worse and worse and worse. I couldn't, like I said before, what you do when you couldn't breathe. The thing is, it only lasted on a few days. Because, like, I would visit my dad on a Sunday, and on the Monday, right afterwards, I would feel like crap. I would feel like that way that I felt before. We have to sit completely still because you can't breathe, and if you make a movement, especially if I walked, I'd have to hold on to a chair. Because I just, all of your being, you literally feel that weak. It's very hard. And so, whenever that happened, like, I didn't know what to do, and it scared the crap out of me. Well, one day, we had gotten so worried and stuff about what happened, and one day I was just sitting on my bed, and I was like, God, why am I feeling this way? Why are you doing this to me? What's wrong with me? And then I would just feel worse and worse, and it started happening a lot, and it would happen like on Mondays and Thursdays. Mainly those days is when I went out somewhere or something like that, and like I would always eat like candy and stuff around that time, and I think that's like really what really made me sick. Like, 'cause candy really is the worst thing that you shouldn't eat at all, of course, 'cause that's the things that have the most food dye in them. But when I was 12, I was just sitting in my bed, and I was asking God why I was this way and stuff, and then I was like, God, what if I don't get better? What if I die? I was like, am I gonna die? I was like, 'cause I don't feel like living anymore. I was like, there's nothing right now that can make me feel any better except that if you heal me, because I hate it. I like to know what's wrong with me, and I was just so scared that I was gonna die. I was crying, and on that night, on this date exactly, April 5th, which weird because it landed on Easter. It was actually around Easter because it was in 2010. It was around Easter, right afterwards, when I found out. I was like, God, I can't handle this no more, and I was kind of just holding on to the sink because I had to have something to hold on to, and I was so tired of sitting down. Well, my sister started praying over me, and this is where the part where God really does miraculous miracles and really does talk to you. She was praying for me, and all of a sudden we heard, it's food dye. And he said, there is something that they put in food dyes that causes problems with people. I was like, there's certain things, and what's going on with your sister is that she is right now having problems with her lungs due to the food dye. Well, the thing is, we were wondering if it was a food allergy. We tried taking me off of chocolate, wheat, peanuts. It was a whole bunch of stuff because we weren't sure what it was. And none of that stuff seemed to bother me at all. It was like I ate it and I was fine. Like, well, not exactly fine, but it's like it didn't bother me right after I ate it or anything like that. And it wasn't really like a peanut allergy or any normal allergy that you normally would have. But once I heard that it was the food dye, it was like, wow. We didn't know what kind of disease it was caused by. but that night we looked it up, and we were like seeing all this stuff about it, how some kids can't have food dyes. We didn't know what the disease was yet, but it was just such a relief just to know what was causing it. Once I got off of it, I was a lot healthier. It took me a while, because over that summer of 2010, I had a lot of issues. I found out a lot of things I could not eat, and I was sick through the whole entire summer, or most of it. But at the end, it was July 3rd, 2010, when I had been really, really sick again, because we had not known, like, my body was still getting used to everything. But it was just, it stuck that time. All the way through June and July, it was like I just couldn't breathe at all. Even though I had been off the stuff, we hadn't known what had food dyes and what didn't. Because you will be surprised what is in food. It's amazing. Because it actually helped me a lot in my, like, I'm getting off subject, but it actually helped me a lot in my science, knowing what was wrong with me, because I learned things in science and stuff, and I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense. And I ended up loving health and biology because of it. But let me get back to the story. Anyway, once that I had been off of it, but I had been sick, I hate hospitals. Okay, I can't stand them. I hate doctors. I hate hospitals. You have to drag me into a doctor's office. You have to drag me by my feet. But I ended up having to go to the hospital because we couldn't take it anymore. So I went to the hospital, was there for a really long time, and waited. But eventually they found out what was wrong, and I had reactive lung disease. So, like, and at least it was good to know that. But I was really thankful for God to tell me that I couldn't have food dyes, because I don't know what would have happened to me if I hadn't found out 5 years ago. I don't even know what it looked like. But a great thing about it is, once you get off food dyes, this is the thing about them. I found out some of this stuff from online. Is that food dye can actually, there's a chemical in it that when you eat something with food dye in it, it goes up to your brain. And once it goes up to your brain, it actually causes your brain to think you want to eat more. That is actually one thing about it. And so whenever I don't eat food dyes, I barely ever have any stomach aches. And another thing is, it's an awesome diet. I swear. When I was 12, I made this kind of a resolution to myself that I was going to lose weight before I turned into a teenager. And like I said, I wanted to lose like 20 pounds or 10 pounds, something like that. I just wanted to lose weight before I turned a teenager. While I was 12 going through 13, I lost 30 pounds. I used to be like really big. I still kind of am, but it wasn't as bad as it was. But I kind of just want to tell this story just to help out people that either are in the same dilemma as me, or just kind of just show an encouragement to somebody, because this really did help me out a lot. Even though it's very hard, not like going to parties, and sometimes you can't eat the cake, or you can't, on Halloween you can't eat candy, or on Easter, like today, I couldn't eat candy even though there was kids around with candy. But I sometimes wish I would have found out when I was younger, so maybe I would have been more healthy. But at the same time, I think it would have ruined my childhood, because I found out right as soon as I was going to be a teenager. It's still hard just being around that age through the years, but it's not as hard because you don't go trick-or-treating, you don't believe in the Easter Bunny anymore, and stuff like that. Or around Christmas, you can't have like frosting and stuff, but in the end, it's all worth it. And another thing too that you learn is that you learn to say no. Because sometimes saying no is hard. You want to do something and you have to say no. Because every single time that I see somebody like they're eating marshmallows or they're eating candy or something and I want to eat it, I just think about how bad I felt that over that summer and over that time in my life and how I couldn't breathe, and it helps me to say no because I don't ever want to feel that way ever again. But I really felt like God helped me through that time. I felt like He was with me and He put people in my life. There wasn't that many people in my life at the time to really help me through it, but there were a few, and I am so grateful for them. And plus one of them was a dog, but she helped me through it too, the dog did. But anyway, I just want to tell all of you that however this helps you in some way, I hope it does. Because I really want to show an encouragement to somebody how this felt to me and how this was. And I really hope that this helped you a lot. Anyway, happy Easter. Bye, guys.